You know, quite a few years ago, when I think it was when Bill Clinton was inaugurated, was in one of his speeches, he recognized one single individual as being very important to him philosophically. And that was a bit of a surprise because I knew about the individual, and some of you may know about him, but it's worth looking into. And his name was Carroll Quigley. He wrote the book Tragedy and Hope. Now, the important part of Tragedy and Hope and Carroll Quigley is that he claims that he was on the inside, part of the group that, you know, did the planning. But why did he write Tragedy and Hope? To expose these people behind the scenes? Because he believed they were far enough advanced, it didn't have to be secret, they could be out in the open, and this is the way it works. It's a tragedy if you don't accept this, and there's hope if you know who runs the show. That's my interpretation, but I believe it's correct. But let me read a quote from him, and thinking about where he's coming from. He says, the argument that the two parties should represent opposed ideals and policies, one, perhaps the right of the right and the other of the left, is a foolish idea, acceptable only to the doctrinaire and academic thinkers. Instead, the two parties should be almost identical, so that the American people can throw the rascals out at any election without leading to any profound or extensive shift in policy. I mean, I think that is a profound statement, because it tells us what's going on and why things don't change. So we here today are trying to say that we represent the majority. We deserve to be heard. They deserve to be in the debates. And you say, well, how can they be? They're minor candidates. They don't have enough support. If you'd have everybody get in the debate. You know there's a simple way for cutoff. Because it's true, if you had 200 people who filed for the presidency, you can't expect the individuals to be on the stage. But there is a good way to do it, and that is to have any candidate who has gone through the onerous process, which is so biased against this, and are still on enough states that they theoretically can get enough electoral votes to win, they ought to be in the debates. And that is what our goal is. Now, what are the odds of this happening? What are the odds that the commission on the presidential debate all of a sudden will become fair and balanced? None. Absolutely none. So what are we going to do about it? We come together. To me, it's fantastic that we've been able to get 4 candidates together on this set of principles and agreeing that it's the process that they're begging to change. And this to me, is remarkable and important. So what else can they do? Well, I think the 4 candidates very well could get together. That generally is something I had to do in the primary race, you know, exclusion, don't do this, marginal. We could just go and have our own. And I know it's difficult to think about, and there's probably arguments against it. I don't even know if the 4 would agree. I haven't even talked to them, but you know, if they could get together and bring all their supporters together, you know, and maybe the media would pay attention and say, maybe there are some important issues. Maybe civil liberties do count. Maybe foreign policy does count. Maybe we ought to change the Federal Reserve. Maybe we shouldn't continue to bail out all the corporations of the world. You know, they're all lining up. It's in auto companies. But it's not going to work. And that's why the people are waking up. We know we're getting near the end of this. And that's why I think it's a bigger number, 60%. You'll never know about watching TV because it's a horse race. Who's the most evil? Oh yeah, he's a little worse than this guy, so we need to do it. So I think what we need is to have a showing. And the only way we can have a showing is to prove this point. Now first off, where are these 60%? Well, there's a bunch of them who make an intellectual decision not to vote. And we shouldn't just say they're apathetic. Because I know a lot who aren't apathetic and are pretty intelligent, and they've figured it out. But I'd like them to vote. My recommendation is to vote. But if you add up those who intellectually do vote, and you take all the alternatives and take that number of half the people who vote just for the lesser of 2 evil, we are the majority. But the more the merrier. They say, oh, you know, the first challenge is, oh, you want to hurt the Republican. No, I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to help save the country. And therefore, if this works, if the American people would wake up, I mean, there would be just as many votes that would leave Obama. I mean, he's not for a change. That to me makes no sense. So if the Republican side would realize what I'm trying to do, they say they should be funding me. say, look, Obama isn't for change, and a lot of young people will go back and forth between Ron Paul and Obama. But the truth is he and McCain. I mean, Obama beat McCain into sending more money and troops to Afghanistan. They all want to send troops to Georgia and more money to Georgia, and they both want bailout. So I think I've hopefully made my point. And I am now going to say that I am very pleased. I thank the candidates for showing. We'll have to wait and see when Bob shows up. But in the meantime, I want to go ahead and give each candidate some time, and I think they won't be as long-winded as I am, because we do want to get to questions, but thank you very much for attending.